And welcome to the Huddle, KG9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jason. Ready to rock and roll here on a pretty nice January day outside, and it's one of my favorite times of the year because college basketball is starting to take a little bit more center stage.
Yeah, January 13th, about to hit mid-January here. And at the center of college basketball, of course, the number one ranked University of Arizona basketball team. And we're going to get, of course, to the Wildcats. But first, Pat, we're going to start with our Huddle poll question. And that is, which team had the most disappointing loss in the playoffs over the weekend? Steelers, Packers, Eagles, or the Chargers? I'll start. And I'm going to say the Steelers because they were home. Eagles coming off a Super Bowl, Packers hurt, Chargers going up against a good New England team. But I'm going to say the Steelers, having lost, I think, what was it, 6 playoff games in a row, something like that. I'm going to go with the Steelers here. Pat, what say you?
Jason, the Steelers weren't even favored. This wasn't even like,
but you're still home with the Hall of Fame quarterback.
But your Steelers,
NFL MVP quarterback. By the way, you can vote on KG9's X account. We're going to show the results later.
And in all fairness, I'll put it out there. Steelers fan. My wife's from the Pittsburgh area. Her family's from the Pittsburgh area. I'm not saying this, coming from that angle. I'm just letting everybody know. But as a Steelers fan, you knew they were going to lose that game last night. You were hoping they would figure out a way with an over the hill Aaron Rodgers and an offensive line that was
this past year. That's why you brought Aaron Rodgers in, because
nobody wanted Aaron Rodgers. Only Mike Tomlin. And oh, by the way, Mike Tomlin, the best thing that happened last night, Jason, is that the Pittsburgh Steelers lost in such a horrible way in the fourth quarter that Mike Tomlin today came into the office and said, "I'm done." So now Steeler fans have exactly what they want.
Now, where Steeler fans are going to be wishing they had Mike Tomlin. 19
to go 9 and 8 or
record.
10-7. No, they're so tired of that act. Losing in the first round of the playoffs, Jason, is no way to win a 7th Super Bowl title. So they were never going to win under Mike Tomlin.
They're going to be wishing for Mike Tomlin back.
No, they won't. Because you can't just it's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result. It was the same thing since 2016. I picked the Chargers. Not because Jason, it's the way they played. What happened with the Steelers, we all anticipated that. In fact, when it was 7-6 in the fourth quarter, I was like, this is a miracle. The Steelers still had an outside and a long shot to win.
Well, maybe if DK Metcalf hadn't dropped the pass, it wouldn't have been 7-6.
Well, that was way earlier in the game. That was earlier.
Aaron Rodgers' teammates did not help him out yesterday.
You're belaboring a point that nobody cares about. The Steelers was not the most disappointing loss. You want to say, from a fan base, the Eagles are way more upset than the Steelers are about the loss. The Steelers are happy today because now they're going to get a new coach. The Eagles are wondering what the heck happened. And the Chargers are like, can anybody block on that offensive line? If they just could block for 1 second, they could have won that game. But no, couldn't do it.
Okay, well, listen, you make some good points, Pat. We're going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see.
We'll see. Everybody's got their opinion. Hey, the Packers had a chance to win that game too against the Bears. That was disappointing.
21-6. You could say it's disappointing in that regard.
Yes. All they had to do was kick a field goal late in that first half, and all of a sudden they're up, by 21 at that point. And then maybe that would have been just enough, but they couldn't hold on.
Let's talk about a team that never loses.
The Arizona Wildcats.
Arizona basketball. One of 5 unbeaten, 16-0 Wildcats, number one ranked team in the country. We've joked about how they're kind of the team with no weaknesses. I would say a better way to say that, after thinking about it for a little bit, is that they're a complete team. There's nothing they don't have, whether it's the steady senior leader, whether it's the older, bigger bigs who are dominating, whether it's the rebounding, whether it's the sharpshooter off the bench with Del Orso, whether it's the star freshman with Koa Pete and Braden Burries. This is a complete basketball team. I do think that BYU has a very, very, very good big three, and I'm concerned about DeBonta and a couple of the other players in the league. But as far as a team, Arizona is the most complete team.
When you have 7, you have an 8-man rotation, 7 of those 8
Is
guys
it 8
are
or
either
7.5? Because if Aristote's playing nine minutes, that's not an
yeah,
8-man
no,
rotation.
but it's 8 men get on the floor and that's it, unless they're winning big. Of those 8 guys, 7 of them are either well into double figures or almost into double figures. That's pretty insane, Jason, to have that kind of scoring balance when we know Koa Pete and Braden Burries are scoring machines and can go off at any time. We know that Mo Krivas can be very impactful offensively and defensively. He can put up 20 points on a given night. And Jaden Bradley, when he has to, can put up 17 points or close to 20 points. So you've got the scoring when you need it, but you've also got, steady scoring in the, guys that are just going to get right around double digits.
So Arizona basketball hosts ASU on Wednesday, a late game at McKale. This was a wild game last year at McKale in which Arizona won 113-100. I remember afterwards, Tommy Lloyd was asked, hey, was this like an NBA game with limited defense? And Tommy Lloyd said, well, I don't know. I've never coached the NBA. The bottom line is this was pretty wild with teams scoring willy-nilly back and forth. Now, I think the storyline for this game here is that this might be the last time we see Bobby Hurley in McKale Center for perhaps a long time. This is a guy who's won a couple of games for ASU at McKale. This is a guy who's coaching his brains out on the sideline. He's fiery. I think he's been a lot of fun for the rivalry. And I asked Tommy Lloyd about him today at the news conference as we see Tommy Lloyd there. And Tommy Lloyd said, well, I just kind of came into the back half of the rivalry, but certainly he has my respect and that. Your thoughts on possibly Bobby Hurley coaching in his last game at McKale Center?
Oh, there's no question, unless they make some unbelievable, miraculous run that we don't see coming. He's done. He's in his last year of his contract. You don't ever go into the last year of your contract if you're a top flight coach like Bobby Hurley is, unless they just don't have the money to pay you out, and they haven't had the money to issue to pay him out. It's been interesting for the rivalry, but in some ways, Jason, I think it's added some venom to the rivalry that you want to keep it civil, but at times it's hard to keep it civil when you've got a coach like that, and sometimes it crosses a line both ways. So I'm not going to be sorry for him to leave, but I'm like Richard Jefferson. The thing is, keep them there, because you can point out a couple of times where they've won at McKale, but predominantly Arizona has just rolled over ASU. And so if you get rid of them, you might bring in a coach who's way better and can relate to the players of today and do a better job. So, the part of me is a little fearful of what the future of coaching at ASU would bring. But for right now, just focus on the game tomorrow night. Arizona is 98% chance of winning, according to Ken Palm. They're predicted to win 92-70. I like that sound. Let's just keep that pace. Let's just keep winning.
That's very high for a team that's won a couple games in McKale recently. I think that speaks to how well Arizona's playing.
That's because Arizona is so much better than they've been, and ASU is not very good. I mean, they're not. I know you'll say, oh, they won a couple of games. They always win games early, and then where do they go? They just kind of fizzle out. So we'll see. By the way, Jason, Ken Palm, it's always fun to just kind of check what Ken Palm right now, and this can always change. Ken Palm has Arizona's, if you go into the Arizona portion, you'll see all their games to this point, and then all the future games, and they project out what they should do. Ken Palm has Arizona winning every single game the rest of the way. The only 2 games that they're not heavily favored.
That's not going to happen.
I'm not done. The only 2 games that they're only slight favorites in at 54% are at BYU on the 26th of this month and at Houston on the 21st of February. But in fairness, Ken Palm still rates their chances of going undefeated in the regular season at just 3.6%, which to me is probably about right. I don't give them much of a chance. And you don't even want to go undefeated. That's just a lot of pressure to put on kids, whether they're being paid or not, to try to finish out an undefeated regular season. That's just insane.
The 2 most recent situations with undefeated teams, if I'm not mistaken, about a decade ago with Wichita State and then in Kentucky a couple years before that. And I think ironically, Wichita State that year actually lost to Kentucky in the second round of the NCAA tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Little different situation. Wichita State was in the Missouri Valley Conference. mid-major conference, so they didn't have as tough a schedule. The year Kentucky, I think, was undefeated. I don't believe they won the NCAA tournament.
No.
And Kentucky had a roster where it was like every guy was going to the NBA. They could have split the roster in two and been a top 5 team on each half of the roster that year. But having said that, you have so much attention on you, and you're already every team Super Bowl that, yes, I'm not sure you want that kind of media attention going into the tournament unbeaten. You kind of almost want a loss to kind of figure out maybe a weakness that somebody exposes that you can kind of figure out. And to me, if they're 20-0 going to BYU and they lose that game, I'll take that. That's fine. But I do want to see them win the next 5 games. I think the toughest one possibly in their schedule is the Central Florida team, which was a top 25 team until this past week.
Yeah,
although Cincinnati, I think, just beat Central Florida. So yes, that game's home. That game's home, though.
Yeah, it was. And I think you're starting to see a little chink in the armor of UCF, and maybe it was a favorable early schedule for them. But you can't take any game lightly. Tomorrow night, you can't take ASU lightly. You certainly can't take UCF in Orlando lightly before you hit Cincinnati and West Virginia, who are Cincinnati's, that's a team that was supposed to be a lot better than they are, and you just never know what might show up. The bottom line, Jason, is they continue to play the brand of basketball they're playing with the confidence, with that style. They're going to be in every game. They may lose a couple here. BYU, they may lose Houston, at Houston. But just keep winning, get as many wins as you can, try to get a number 1 seed and go from there.
Jason Barr, Pat Parris, this is the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. Pat, we are introducing a new segment today, trying to stir things up. And listen, I don't know how this is going to go. Actually, I believe it's a rapid fire with 5 questions. I only know one of them, the questions. We're going to see how we do and take the information and go from there. So this is a little bit new to us. And so we're going to see what happens. But our producer, Ryan McClure, I don't know if he's going to come on here or just put out a 2-minute warning. I'm sorry. Yep. I said rapid fire, but we changed the name to 2-minute warning at the last minute. I beg your pardon. So 2-minute warning. Jason and Pat answer yes. Rapid fire questions. Okay, Ryan, producer Ryan, do you have the first question? And then how long should we each take to answer each question? Because I believe if this is rapid fire, it's going to be.
You just read it. You just read the question. It's right there.
Yeah, I can't with the lights going.
I'll do it.
The questions in red, it doesn't come up.
These questions are from our producer, Ryan, and he says, which sports franchise is the best in Arizona? Is it the Cardinals, Suns, or D-backs? We're talking about professional sports in Arizona. Jason, go.
You mean the best managed one?
Best in Arizona.
Yeah, I got to go with the D-backs, almost process of elimination. Pat?
Yeah, I think without question, the D-backs have to be number 1. I think the Suns ownership change ended up being the exact wrong thing at the wrong time.
Pat, this is rapid fire. You got to go fast.
I think the Cardinals. No, we can go fast. You got 2 minutes. And the Cardinals.
I didn't know that.
The Bidwell family, as long as they own this team, they were super lucky to get Kurt Warner at the end of his career and still an MVP type quarterback with Larry Fitzgerald. That's the only time they've been to the Super Bowl. They will not be back with the Bidwells in control.
Oh, wow. Strong statement there. Okay, next. Go ahead.
Will this be Tommy Lloyd's best team during his tenure as Arizona head coach?
I would say yes. Yes, and that's not a knock on any other team, but it's going to be hard to beat this team. The only team I can think of in recent memory that comes close to this team is Sean Miller's 2013-14 team, and that was 21-0, went to Cal. Brandon Ashley broke his foot. They came within a bucket of the Final Four. Had Brandon Ashley not broken his foot, maybe would have gotten to the Final Four. I think this team is on par with that one. The only thing and I know we're talking about possible future teams, so I'm going back a little bit. The only thing about that team that team had that this team didn't, and maybe they do, Pat, is that team had a lockdown defender at Rondé Hollis Jefferson. Koa Pete's a terrific defender. I don't know if he's a lockdown defender. Your thoughts on that?
Karchenkov's a very good defender, but you're right, and that's a different position. So, yeah, he locks down the guards, and that especially the shooting guard. I will say this. For Tommy Lloyd, I look at him as being Lute Olson. And Lute Olson, of course, had the great 1987 team with Steve Kerr, and that set him off on what turned out to be a terrific 15-year run. I think this is Tommy Lloyd's 1987 team. I think this team goes far in the tournament, if not, has a really good chance to win the tournament. But this will set them for the next 15 years of maybe every couple of years we have a team like this. With the NIL and with all the money and things, it's going to be hard to do this every year. But every couple of years, every few years, you might see Tommy Lloyd with a chance to win a championship or make the Final Four.
Okay, next.
All right, who is this weekend in the who wins this weekend in the NFL playoffs? Buffalo at Denver, Houston, New England, San Francisco, Seattle, the Rams at Chicago.
There's going to be 4 winners.
Yeah, so pick the winners.
There's one winner.
Let's just rapid fire pick the winners.
Whoa. You go first.
All right, I'm going to go home teams in Denver, New England, and Seattle, but I'm going to say the Rams find a way to knock off the Bears because I'm not a big believer in the Bears.
Okay, I'll go with the Bears, and who's home between Seattle and San Francisco? Seattle's home, right?
Seattle's home.
I'll go with San Francisco as the road winner. I'm going with the Bears winning, and I'll take the other 2 home teams.
The New England and Denver. Bold move, Cotton. Good job. All right, next one. All right. What team will Arizona basketball lose to end their undefeated start?
Yeah, BYU. Really concerned about AJ DeBonsa. He is a problem, that BYU player. That is going to be a raucous environment. Arizona going in there 20-0 with Richie Saunders, who's the Big 12 Player of the Week. DeBonsa and that other guard who's kind of formed a little big 3 for BYU. I think that's where it ends.
I think that's going to be a really tough game, but I don't want to say the same thing as you. I'm worried about, officiating, biting them again against BYU. If that doesn't happen, I think they can make it all the way to perhaps even, what if BYU came here and knocked them off, Jason? What if they make it all the way to the BYU game February 18th, but here, and we have the same.
Hey, that happened last year. BYU won here. Now it was a Tony
on a bad call, on a
he
terrible
made some
call.
Bad calls in that Utah BYU game I saw on Saturday night.
Yeah,
but that did happen. I bet easily come here
and win.
Padilla.
Yeah, we got Padilla. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay. Do we have one more?
Stuff. One more. Who is your midseason 2026 Big 12 Player of the Year? Is it Jaden Bradley, perhaps?
That's who you're picking. I'm going with DeBonsa.
No, it's not. I didn't pick Jaden Bradley.
Who'd you pick?
Jaden Bradley to me is the guy who stirs the drink, for Arizona basketball. He is
Arizona basketball's MVP. I have a bone to pick with you if you think it's Koa Pete. It's Jaden Bradley.
No. I that's what I'm saying is I think Jaden Bradley is the reason why guys like Koa Pete and Braden Burries and Mo Krivas are doing what they're doing. And your BYU, I get it. I understand why you're high on that, but I say JT Toppin still, because while Texas Tech lost a couple of games,
they lost 4 games.
Yeah, but one that still doesn't mean that he can't be the MVP of the league. He's the only. Well, I was going to say he's the only guy with a double-double. But that's not true because Awaka has a double-double, but it's barely a double-double. The only other double-double that scorer in the league right now is JT Toppin, and it's impressive. 20.6 points, 11 rebounds to lead the conference in rebounding. He also has 1.7 blocks. He's the most complete player, the most dominant player. He may be the best NBA player out of this group, but I know you say otherwise, Jason.
Yeah, I'm going with DeBonsa. His stats are incredible. I mean, 23 points per game on 58% shooting. What does he have? 7 or 8 rebounds, 4 or 5 points. DeBonsa's worst game all year is a 16.8 rebound performance against Miami.
I wonder when
he shot 5 for 14 shooting. That's his worst game all year.
Yeah, and I wonder if his stats.
I believe he's getting $7 million from BYU.
Yeah, I wonder if his stats will look a little different when he starts playing the Houstons and Iowa States and Arizonas of the Big 12 world.
We'll see. I believe that's the end. That concludes our first 2-minute warning rapid fire. I think for next time, Pat, I think we need a little bit of music, and we can't have that red on black or whatever because with the lighting here, I can't.
Yeah, we should have had music. We'll do that next time. We'll do that.
Yeah.
We need a fancy open.
Listen, this was just the first one. Yeah. This was the first one. Yeah. We're going to get better. We're going to have some fun with it. That's all that matters. Okay, Let's circle back now, Pat, to our Huddle poll question from earlier. Which NFL team had the most disappointing loss over the weekend? Was it the Steelers, the Packers, the Eagles, or the Chargers? And I think people are saying the Packers just because they were up 21-6, but they were on the road with a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but that was disappointing for sure. No, and
you have did you say the Chargers?
Yeah, I said the Chargers. I also said the Eagles too, but I didn't vote, so I
think
should
part
go
of
in and
it
vote.
though is there's a lot more Packers and Steelers fans in our.
There's no question, but I think real Steeler fans were okay with it because it allowed them to get what they wanted anyway, and that's a new coach. Because
be careful what you wish for.
That's fine, Jason, but why would you keep doing the same thing over and over and over? It makes no sense.
Because finally you break through. Be careful, Pat.
No, they were going
19 years and didn't have a losing season, and now Steelers fans want to show this guy the door.
But here's the thing, Jason.
You know
how do you get the number? How do you get
a coach who goes 19 seasons and not have a losing year? The Jets haven't been in the playoffs since the 1800s.
Well,
what do you think
the Steelers? The Steelers. You got to remember the Steelers have
19 in a row, and you're taking the coach and you're saying don't let the door hit you on the way out.
That's what you do. That's what you do when you have 6 Super Bowls and you won a 7th, Jason, and you're nowhere close to it. You're nowhere close to it, not even close. And sometimes you have to take a step backwards to get a top draft choice. Steelers haven't picked better than like 18th in 20 plus year, 25 years. They can't get a franchise quarterback. Their last franchise quarterback was Ben Roethlisberger. And you can't do that when you're picking 20th every year or 22nd every year. So something's got to give. Either they've got to make a bold, they've got to make a bold move.
An analogy for you. How about this? The Indiana Pacers had the same thing in the 90s. They kept losing in the first round. They kept losing to the Knicks. They lost in the first round. They lost in the second round. They lost in the first round. And finally, they broke through and got to the NBA Finals. They're like you just got to keep knocking on the door sometimes.
Not
you
for
don't have
20
to blow
years,
the whole
Jason.
thing up.
Not for 20 years.
I think you guys are spoiled.
Yeah, you do.
I think the Steelers fans today are a bunch of spoiled brats.
You know what? Time will tell, Jason. Time will tell. Oh, here's the matchups. We know the times and where you can watch it now too. That's going to be a good. To me, the game I'm really interested in is the Texans and the Patriots. You got 2 really good defenses. You've got Patriots offense that's going well, but they haven't faced a team like the Texans right now.
Well, so you got the quarterback Josh Allen going up against the Denver team that many are
that'll
saying
be good. Denver's got an insane defense. Yeah,
not a dominant steed that they've been in number 1. And our producer asked us who's win the Super Bowl. We'll get to that, Ryan. We don't have to say that right now. We'll get to that next week, maybe. 49ers, Seahawks, and then the other 2 with Caleb Williams and the magic that he's doing. So, so that's the schedule.
Just saying, if you were to pick a Super Bowl winner right now, who would it be? Boom. You just. I mean, we're not. This isn't something we're committed to. It just.
I would pick Buffalo
now,
if I had to pick a team right now.
Boy. Buffalo may not even win on Saturday.
Well, listen, okay. There's no clear favorite. This is not.
No, that's the whole thing. And every team seems to be just missing a little something right now. If I was going to have to pick, golly, I'd probably pick the Seahawks.
All right, next week, Ryan, let's do something on the tush push, and that needs to be eliminated. That is not a football play. Speaking of Josh Allen, he can't be carried 10 yards, lifted up by his offensive lineman. I mean, that's not even sumo wrestling.
Didn't we have this discussion like a year ago, and you were in favor of keeping it?
No. You remember.
Okay. I remember. I'm misremembering that.
Oh, no. I'm very much against the tush push. It's not a football play. And if John Madden was here today, that's how he would say it. He's
rolling over in his grave. He's rolling over in his grave. That's not a football play. I've never thought it was a football play.
Okay. So let's do something on that with rapid fire for the 2-minute warning rapid fire next week. Okay. Hope we had some fun there. Tried something new. We'll keep improving and keep making it better. And keep talking Arizona basketball. We're lucky to have the number 1 team in the country. For Pat Parris, I'm Jason Barr. This has been the Huddle, KGUT9's weekly streaming sports talk show. We'll see you next week.